harder, make it better. Breathe faster, makes us stronger. Our work is never over. Working harder, make it better. We faster, makes us stronger. Our work is working faster, make it better. We faster, makes us stronger than ever. Good morning, our CMS. Today I want to talk to you about Acuity, but before I talk to you about Acuity, I want to talk to you about why we're here at our CMS, why we're in this school, your teachers, the people who work here, the administrators, me. Okay, at our CMS, we're here because we want to teach you and inspire each and every one of you to be hardworking, happy, productive people who are ready to go to high school and ready to work through high school, and once you get through high school, go to college and have an awesome career that you love. We really do. That is why we are here. We are here because we want you to have a good life. To do that, we have several things that we have to do. We have to teach you math and science and reading and writing and social studies, technology, art, health, PE, music. We have to teach you discipline. We have to teach you how to work hard. We have to teach you how to have grit and how to have a growth mindset, how to be curious, what things are out there that are awesome and interesting. We teach you lots of things, and the reason that we teach you these things is because we want you to be happy and we want you to do well. But to actually do that, to be successful in our task of teaching you those things and helping you to be successful and go into the world prepared to work hard and take control of your life and do whatever it is you want to do, we have to use data. And we have to analyze data. And that's something you've probably heard before and you may know a little bit about, but what data means is facts and figures and pieces of numbers that tell us about what it is we're looking at. So we're going to tell you over the next couple weeks and months about the type of data that we use, and we're going to tell you about why we use it and what it means and how you can use it and what it shows us. And we're going to start with Acuity. Acuity is a really awesome system that gives us a lot of information that we can use, and we're going to teach you how to use it so that you can become happy, hardworking, knowledgeable, and awesome. But before we got into it, I wanted to make sure that you knew that the reason that we were doing it is because we want you to learn how to be awesome. So we're going to get started and we're going to talk about Acuity. At any point in this video you get confused or you don't understand, raise your hand, your teacher will pause the video and you can ask a question. And in general, after you're done watching the video, you can go to your teachers and you can ask them follow-up questions, or you can come ask Mr. Michael, Mr. Huffman, or myself, or Mr. Fagans, and we will help you out. So we're going to just get started, and raise your hand if you have any question. Thanks, guys. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do when we're looking at the Acuity report, you're going to go ahead to Acuity and you'll sign in. When you get signed in, you'll see these 4 tabs at the top: Home, Assessment, Study, and Reports. You're going to click on Reports, and then you're going to see that there's all your different subjects you can choose between. We're going to look at math. So when we first start looking at math, it's going to show you every math assessment that you've looked at, particularly the 2 big Acuity assessments that we've looked at. And we're going to talk about all of the things in your report, but you're going to see one thing in particular, which is one number, the scaled score. Now, it's kind of hard to explain your scaled score, but I'm going to try. Scaled score isn't exactly the number of points you've obtained or gotten correct. The scaled score takes into account how difficult each item is and gives you a general overall idea of how well you did on this assessment. So you can get just a snap judgment looking at, did I do better or worse than the last time I took this? Okay, so at this point what we're going to do is we're going to look at a specific report. You're going to select, if you can, the Form B, Online Only CCRA. Form A is what we took the first time, Form B is what we just took, and that's why you're going to have different reports. You should be able to access your Form B today. If you cannot access it, you can just look at Form A while we look at it, and instead of saying grade 7, it'll say whatever grade you're in. You will click on the button that says View, and that will open it up for you. The first thing we're going to look at within the Acuity test report is the part at the top. You have your overall scaled score, which is that number that you looked at before. You also have your percentile ranking. Now, a percentile rank is the percentage of scores that fall at or below a given score. So it gives you an idea of how well you are doing in comparison to the other people. So 86% of the other people who took this assessment in 7th grade, the number of students is 113, had at or below 86%. So that means that only 14% of students got a higher score than this in the 113 students who took this. You can also see the overall percentage points. That percentage points is the number of points that you earned on this particular assessment. Okay, we scroll down a little bit, we can look at the test performance. We're going to look at the headings like we would with any chart that give us the information for what we're looking at. So we see that the dark blue that says grade tells you what grade the standard is in. Now, a standard is just something that you're expected to be able to do, and these Acuity tests, they test standards that aren't just from your current grade, but also grades that you've already gone through because they need to see if there are any gaps in your learning that you missed. So for 7th graders, they test 5th grade standards and 6th grade standards and 7th grade standards. Now, some of the 7th grade standards you may not have learned yet. So if you get a 0, you might want to look and see if you've met that standard yet. That's something that you can figure out by perhaps looking around your teacher's room or just going and asking your teacher, hey, have you taught us this standard yet? Okay, so we see the grade. Domain is just the area that they're talking about. So data analysts and statistics is the grade 5 domain, and then the standard itself. So if you are confused about what a standard is, here we go. Here's an exact standards. This grade 5 standard is the first grade 5 standard on the 7th grade math report is understand and use measures of center, mean and median, and frequency mode to describe a data set. Okay, so anyways, let's take a look at the other headings. Number of items in that section, 30 total. Number of items omitted, which would be items that aren't being considered, is 0. Possible points obtained versus possible points. So this report shows that there were 17 points obtained of 31 possible points. And you'll be able to see that in each section you can see how many points you got out of how many points were available. You can see the percentage of the overall points obtained, which we knew that 55% because we saw it a moment ago. And then the district average percentage points obtained, that is the other students in your grade who took this. What is the average that they got? Now we're going to talk about what you can do with these reports yourself to try to understand how you're doing in math and in reading language arts. So, number one, take a look and at your current grade level standards. So 6th graders look at grade 6, 7th graders look at grade 7, 8th graders look at grade 8. Take a look and try to find anything that you maybe didn't get a lot of points on or you got no points on, and figure out if those standards have been taught this year or not. If they haven't been taught yet, you will be taught them later and you don't have to worry about that right now. If they were taught, try to figure out what happened. You can look at the actual test questions by clicking on the blue underlined standard. So if you click on the standard, you can see the items that include that standard and the skill, which is the standard. You can see the points that were possible for each item and the points that you obtained, how many you got. If you click on the item number, you can see the actual test question and what your answer was. So you can go to those ones that you missed, take a look at it, and then go to your teacher and say, this was what my answer is, what did I do wrong? Or you could just go through and think about it. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to take a little bit of time and look through your report, try to understand it, and see what it tells you about how well you're doing. Your teachers do this too. They take a look at everybody's reports, they look at the class reports, they see how everybody's doing on each standard, and then they might go back and reteach something if most of their class missed something, or they might move on, and if they have a bunch of people that did really well in a standard that wasn't covered yet, that's an interesting information too. And we use that information to help you learn and to design the learning that you're going to have for the rest of the school year around this. So I think that's all I'm going to cover in the video right now. You can ask your teacher some questions, and I will be around if you have questions for me. With the time that you have left, what I would like you to do is, if you have an iPad, I would like you to go sign into Acuity and take a look at your reports. Take a look at the comparison between the first report that you got and the second report. Take a look at your language arts and your math. Your Acuity report should be available now for the test that you took this week and last week.